This is the Kpopcast. I am joined today by DJ Peter Lowe.
What's up, Steph? Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Kpopcast. That voice over there is my good friend, Stephanie Parker. I am also joined by my other recurring show host, Supermatic, K-pop boy here in the building.
What's up, everybody? Supermatic here. How y'all doing?
So as you heard earlier, we've got Stephanie Parker on, a friend who helped me get into K-pop back in, I want to say, like, the OG Hallyu Wave in 2009 or 2010. Steph, I know you've kind of been around the circuit quite a bit. You've been working at Soompi. I remember you were a community manager there. And you also worked at Viki. And I understand it, and I think I might have heard about this current company that you're currently working for. It's a streaming service called Your Vid or My Stream, I think. What was it called?
YouTube.
That's the one.
It's called YouTube.
I think our K-pop fans might know a thing or two about that platform.
I should hope so.
Yeah, so thank you for coming on to this show, Steph, for this episode of the Kpopcast.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, DJ Pilo and Supermatic. I'm really excited to be here. As Peter said, I've been a K-pop fan for a real long time. I think it's about 12 years now. Cannot believe how long ago I started listening. And I just love how K-pop brings all kinds of people together who never would have met, like me and Pilo and Supermatic today. So yeah, really excited for the show. Can't wait to talk about my favorite music ever with you guys. Woo!
Yeah. Okay, so what's on the episode for today? It's Supermatic.
We've got our giveaway. We'll be announcing the winner of our contest, who will be the lucky recipient of that Minzy album. We've got our top pick section, which relates to that. We'll be briefly recapping our last episode with some listener feedback and mainly highlighting the fresh new group Triple H.
It's
not the wrestler.
5, so fresh.
Woo woo.
All right, so last episode we took a look at KARD, and one of the commenters, Lu Yi, actually provided a comment to us. He said, look, you guys, you really need to check out this video, and he linked this video from Form of Therapy, another K-pop channel. And in this video, it explains that, look, KARD is breaking the game because whereas girl groups do hyper girly stuff, and guy groups do hyper masculine stuff, you're not really having much overlap in terms of girl groups doing really masculine badass stuff or guys doing the same sort of sexy aegyo that girls are getting, right? Whereas KARD, everyone is kind of doing all the same thing.
Yep.
And that has never been done before. So shout out to Lu Yi for showing how instead of Troublemaker showing a duo couple, each doing like a female-male perspective, KARD from the beginning has portrayed themselves as more of a cohesive group. So thank you, Lu Yi, for that feedback. If I had to weigh in on that further, I might say I think that totally changes the way I look at KARD. It really does. Because, sure. You look at the choreo for KARD and how it's very androgynous. It's like both the girl and the guy can be doing this together, and it neither is fully focused on, well, this is just the girl part or this is just the guy part. That's really interesting.
I think that reading or seeing this analysis makes me realize one of the reasons I like KARD so much is because it seems like there's a confident maturity there, in that they don't have to act out or overcompensate with the gender identities that they're trying to show.
Exactly.
Especially the male dancers seem really comfortable with doing these more fluid or hip focused moves, and they're just not going over the top with it. I think it shows a level of confidence that is really appealing and different.
Totally agreed. To counterpoint that, however, as a former Latin ballroom champion, I will say that having a lead and a follow, in other words, the guy doesn't always have to lead the lead, but the one who's like leading the dance, and then the follow, which is usually the girl, you can have really interesting tension between two players in a single dance. And that tension between the two players creates a very visually dynamic and fun dance to watch. And as well as dance to, quite frankly, speaking as a former Latin ballroom dancer, it's fun. Like, knowing like, okay, I can, give some compression or tension in this way, and she will react to it in this way. And that nuanced approach, I think, is cool. There might be opportunities for KARD to do that, have both, one, this cohesive group, they all have the same choreography, but two, and I would say they can even do this within the same song, where they sort of split off and they play off of each other. But not where it's separate, like, okay, your turn, my turn, but rather I will hold you in this way and I will stretch out this way from this connection. So that would be my 2 cents on that.
Really excited.
Yeah.
We should totally do that.
If I may add a little bit onto that, I wish I wasn't stuck at work last night so I could have taken part in this, but KARD themselves hosted what's called an Ask Me Anything on Reddit just yesterday.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
AMA. And one of the questions they got was about their chemistry as a co-ed group and what us as fans can look forward to from the future from them as far as their official debut goes. And one of the responses Somin actually had is that she said she's excited for their next song and choreography because it's going to be something different than what you're used to from these previous 3 songs from KARD.
Ah, snap.
Wow.
We're waiting for that D.
Yep. Yes. They gave us the K, the A, and the R.
Just want the D. The debut. Okay, well, that may be coming, so we'll stay tuned, and we're really excited. Thank you again, Lu Yi, for providing that feedback, and I think we may insert listener feedback again for future episodes. Okay, so we had a contest.
Yes.
To name this segment of the show where we go through our top picks of the week.
I know. I watched the last one. It's no longer cream of the K-pop.
Yeah. We're definitely not doing that. So, who won the contest, Supermatic, and who's replacing that name?
All right. So first off, just thank you so much to everybody who took part in the contest. Thank you all for your submissions. We got a lot of great ones that definitely gave us a lot to think about. But there was one that we were just feeling way too much. Shout out to our big winner, Outspoken Artistry, with the suggestion of Hit Replay.
And I was asking you, like, okay, is there a K-pop reference in that? And then that's when you hit me with, like, the best K-pop reference of all time.
Yep. Of course, SHINee's debut hit, which is called Replay.
Replay.
Yep.
Woo, one of my favorites. That's old school right
same.
there.
Okay.
And the reason why we liked this certain suggestion so much is because, well, we thought about the concept of a top pick. It's songs that we just can't listen to, like, only once, So it's like, hey, Peter, or hey, Supermatic, what songs are making you hit replay this week? So that's why.
That's on Hit Replay.
Yeah, I noticed whenever you guys are, well, in the past episodes that I've listened to, I noticed when you guys talk about how much you like a song, it's always defined by whether you would skip it or whether you would put it on repeat or replay it. So it fits perfectly.
Yep.
Great job.
Stephanie, I didn't even realize that. But yes, you're absolutely right.
I listened to all of the episodes.
Hey.
Oh my God. I hope you didn't listen to all of our shitty
listener feedback.
As many as I could find.
Oh God. Some of our earlier stuff was horrible. Okay.
No, it's all great.
Outspoken Artistry. Thank you so much. You will be receiving that Minzy album. So just send us a message, I believe, with your...
we'll reach out to you as well,
yes.
and we'll get your shipping information. We won't promise we won't sell it. The Minzy album is coming.
Yep.
Okay, so let's go into our top picks. So, Steph, what's making you hit replay this week?
I'm first. Thanks, guys. So, song that's making me hit replay this week is Steal Your Heart by Unit Black, which is their debut single. This group has 8 members that were chosen to debut from a massive group of like 27 members. I remember when Super Junior was a lot, but they're obviously like nothing now compared to the size of groups these days. But these boys came from a K-pop survival show called Boys 24. I admit that I actually don't know too much more about them, but I was just watching the recent debut videos and I was like, hey, like this has all of the elements that I like. Somebody put some thought into this. Okay. I mean, first, the members seem to have some personality. Like I could pick out some ones that I like. They seem to have a lot of fun when they're filming the video. And I'm really into the trend of the tropical island pop sounds that's going on these days.
Yeah.
It seems like you guys are also into it too.
Yep.
And then I was looking at the choreo as well. It's really hard to impress me with choreo, especially if you're a new group. But I thought it was really solid this time for a new video. I mean, there's this one part that I'm just crazy about where like nearly all the members are hunched over, huddled in a ball, and there's just one guy standing up and singing. And I know we've seen that like a million times, but this time, the huddle all moved together while the guy is walking, and the huddle was carrying the second guy on his back at the same time. So it's hard to describe. You have to watch it yourself. But I was like, that is cool. That's a nice touch. Somebody thought about this, and I appreciate it. I'm happy.
Well,
Unit back.
I gotta say, as a dancer myself and someone who is part of my college's K-pop dance club, you've got me curious, Stephanie. I'm definitely gonna check this out.
Yeah.
All right, and we'll put a link into the show description.
Absolutely.
So yes, and
Awesome.
I think if it's on Spotify, we'll also drop it into a Spotify playlist.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing that top pick, Stephanie. And I know when we're all talking about the show today, we're going through top picks, and I was like, damn, Stephanie, these are good selections. And
Thank you.
And even as a straight male, I had to say, like, these are some cute boys in this group.
I didn't want to mention that first, but isn't that obvious?
Yeah. A litmus test for K-pop. For me, DJ Pilo, there was this one song that's making me hit replay, and it's the Sexy Saxy Beat by AC.
Sexy, sexy.
Yeah.
I like what you did there.
Yeah. Well, it's got a sax in it, you know. Yeah.
Bringing Saxy back.
Oh, God. Okay. You can tell I put a lot of thought into that one. But it's funny because, like, when we hear so much in, like, K-pop for sexy concepts, I think especially for the hoochie, girly, sexy K-pop, I think there's a saxophone there. And
I have not heard someone say hoochie in years. Thanks, Peter. Thank you so much for bringing it back.
You're welcome. You know, as the resident 30-year-old here in the room, I can make those.
Yes.
I can rightfully bring in that word choice and not feel too bad about it. But yeah, I mean, honestly, you can like ignore the music video. I mean, if you really like low production value hoochie sexy girls, then this is your thing. They've got all the, you know, short booty shorts and cleavage and circle lenses and, you know, cheap shots, which, you know, obviously make references to sexual activities. But the reason why you should like this and the reason why it should be on a hit replay is that it's got a ratchet electric beat.
And you like your ratchet electric beats.
I know. I knew that was coming.
Yes. So this goes right there with Cheetah's My Number, Bad Kids Hot Hey. If you like Lascia, if I'm pronouncing their group name, or Bambino, it's basically like the same sort of group. Check them out. You know, saxophones are great for sexy hoochie K-pop, unless you're a saxophone cat from Crayon Pop. All right, so Supermatic, what's making you hit replay this week?
So my hit replay of this week was an interesting random happenstance that I ended up checking out because
and I'm so glad you picked this.
Yes, I was just browsing through my K-pop selections and subscriptions on YouTube because, of course, me being a K-pop fanatic, I'm subscribed to a lot of different K-pop channels, and it popped up in a suggestion after I was watching another video, and I was like, "Good zombie." Well, one of my favorite recent movies is Train to Busan, which is a Korean zombie movie. So I must check this out. And I clicked on it, and I am glad I did. It's kind of like not just a music video, it's kind of like a mini short film almost.
Yeah.
And it's funny. So the topic is Good Zombie by Charlie and Shinba featuring Zingo. And Charlie and Shinba apparently have been a K-pop duo for quite a long time. I'm surprised I only just discovered them because this apparently is nothing new for them. They do a lot of like parody elemental stuff, but it's really good and funky and it's interesting like instrumentals. The music video is a lot of fun and entertaining to watch because it's full of these scenarios where I believe it's Charlie as a zombie, like is approaching normal humans, and of course they get scared. And there's this one guy, I guess it's being portrayed by Shinba, always there with a shotgun ready to shoot him down. And it's like, I was just gonna be friendly, like I was just gonna give this little girl candy. I was gonna write a love note to this beautiful woman.
It's just so funny because I mean, your first reaction if you see a zombie is like, oh my god, shotgun,
Yes.
zombie shotgun, right?
Walking Dead.
Yes.
Nope.
Double tap it, right? Always make sure it's
Yes.
dead after it's down. But in this case, it's like, oh, I was just here to give me this, and it's like, oh, I was running up because you called my number,
Yes.
and it's like, you don't have to push me away. I was just extending my hand to lift you up. So.
Like he's a normal, relatively relatively typical, atypical Korean man, a Korean citizen, who just happens to be a zombie, but he's going through your everyday things like a normal human would.
So proof that there are good zombies
Yes.
out there.
And it's even got an interesting point dance. I mean, it's not even too complicated. It's one of those dances that everybody can do if they want to.
I really
it's a
like
fun,
that dance, yeah.
it's a party element dance. Like, it's one of those where everybody can do it.
I want to get those same, fluorescent colored suits
Yes.
that they're wearing in the music video.
Yes,
Very
do it.
bright and neon, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
The sound of the song, like, if someone said, JYP. At the beginning, I would totally,
Yes.
I would totally believe it.
I could see
because
it.
this could have been a Wonder Girls song,
Mm-hmm.
right? In terms
Totally.
of like how
That's
it sounds,
right.
but I mean, I'm glad someone other than JYP can do a JYP song.
Yes.
I give JYP too much attention.
But needless to say, I'm glad I discovered this. I'll be giving Charlie and Shinba more attention. I'm going to check out their library. So there you go. That's my hit replay of this week.
We're going to take a look at Triple H's 365 So Fresh. And is it Daebak or not?
Hey girls, champagne, showtime. I'm 365 so fresh. 지금부터 발까지 everybody say fresh. 밤새도록 끝까지 everybody say fresh. 제로부터 백까지 everybody say fresh. I'm 365 so fresh.
If you haven't seen the music video, what's actually happening? I mean, what's the quick summary of what's going on in Supermatic?
It's just a crazy, free-for-all, us against the world, hell-raising adventure of three young and wild souls living out the last few free hours of their lives together before they collectively meet a rather tragic and dark end. I mean, it's a package of sex, drugs, murder, funk, all in one audiovisual contrast, which is highly entertaining, or at least appealing. You just can't help but watch. Once your eyes are on it, you can't look away.
Yeah.
So true.
I thought it was interesting, like you said, sex, drugs and violence, and mental health.
Oh, yes.
I think it's probably the
Yes,
other
don't
one.
forget that.
It's like
Edon. Oh, my
it's
God.
all the taboos, all in one music video.
Yes. Yes.
Although,
yes.
for having all the taboos, the only thing that was blurred out was the blunt.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's like, really?
You know what?
You blur that out.
Yeah,
you just showed like group suicide and implied rape and real murder, but you blur out the
yeah.
I can't. I can't. I love K-pop.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay to, uncensor, Hyena's rack. I think that was okay.
Right. I mean, what else is new, especially for Hyuna?
Yeah. Okay, so Matt, just looking at the show notes here, it looks like you actually put a lot of thought into actually breaking down this music video.
Yeah, I got inspired last night. Like, I was just like, we're covering 365 Fresh. I should probably actually, really look into this. And next thing I knew, once I started, I got going.
Okay, well, what did you want us and our listeners to know about the concept of the song?
Before going into detail, I think it's pretty interesting how the whole concept behind Triple H is that this is supposed to be the successor to Troublemaker, which was a duo.
Yeah.
But now this time around, you've got Hyuna with not just one, but two boy toys.
Are they backup dancers or are they actually co-stars?
I think that in this particular instance, especially for their debut, they hold their own well enough compared with the star power of Hyuna. Like, they are equally featured. For those who don't know, the other two members are Hui and Edon from the boy group Pentagon, which is another new, I guess what the word is like Nugu boy group under the Cube label. So good job to Hui and Edon, because honestly, I did not know anything about Pentagon before this. So I'm probably going to be checking out Pentagon just based on Hui and Edon's performance so far from being part of Triple H.
Yeah. What did you think, Steph? Do you think they held their own against Hyuna?
Oh, for sure. I mean, maybe I just thought they were particularly good looking.
that does, tend to play to your favor, right? If you've got the looks, that does help.
Perhaps. But yeah, I thought they held their own too. They had their own storylines, and they were, captivating on screen with the characters that they're playing. So yeah, I thought it was pretty equally spread out.
To your point, Steph, like they were definitely equally played out with each of their backstories. But I remember Hyuna the most.
I wonder why.
Well, there's that.
It totally wouldn't be your bias coming out now, Peter.
Perhaps. But at the same time, I had a hard time remembering like which guy was which. And the only time I can remember, because it's like, well, they're all so pale and they all have really light hair. And it's like, oh, well, this guy, he was wearing the flannel and this guy wasn't. And that's how I remembered how they were different from each other, honestly. That's why I think Hyuna stood out more to me. But I could be wrong here. And obviously, you guys...
I think it all comes down to the hair dye choice. If one of them had dark hair, we would not be having this conversation.
True that. Actually, that's absolutely like, Steph.
I think they should limit it to one blonde per video.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at like Girls' Generation or these other like guy groups, and it's like, oh, each individual member has their own unique color of hair.
That's true.
True, always.
So that's the style now, and it helps me remember who's who.
We should deliver this feedback to them for the next single.
Yeah, different colored hair.
Right. So for those who haven't seen it, we are treated to, again, like kind of a short film more than just a music video. We've got Hyuna, the wild child, who for some reason is working in a barbershop/salon. I don't know. One of her clients gets a little too touchy-feely. He tries to grab at her thigh, I think.
Yeah.
Things escalate, and she ends up having to defend herself with a blade. Things kind of like are reminiscent of almost Sweeney Todd, if anyone knows Sweeney Todd.
Oh, yeah.
But basically, she ends up, I want to say, accidentally killing him in self-defense. He bangs his head against the edge of a counter, ends up pretty much bleeding out. Hyuna freaks out, tries to clean it up before she ends up running out of there.
She's like the most pathetic murderer. Like, I mean, right? Like she tries tugging on it. It's like, no, girl. Like his body weight to yours.
Than you. You're not going to be able to drag him anywhere.
And I saw Hyuna up close, and she's very petite.
Yes.
So. Yeah.
And then we've got Hui, the hedonistic bad boy who presumably gets drunk at a club, ends up stealing a car from a couple of girls there. And later on, we discovered that this car he happened to steal just happens to have a trunk full of moolah.
Like,
a lot of money.
Such dumb luck.
Right?
When they opened the trunk, I halfway thought there was going to be a body in there.
That would have been appropriate.
I was like, this is already going so dark. There's like, what's a dead body? Just throw it in there. but then I saw the money and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. We're about to have a party.
What I want to know is, what were those other two girls doing? Right? That they acquired all this like raw cash.
Good question.
And they just had it hanging out in their trunk.
Yeah, what's their line of work? Can I get in that?
That's actually a good point, because then how else would they have had that money that Triple H ended up finding?
And why weren't those girls chasing after the guys that was, or the Triple H team?
Right.
I don't know, because usually when that happens, that's when you get like real scary violence, criminal versus criminal violence.
For sure. But then, before we forget, of course, we have our last member of Triple H, which is Edon, the suicidal rebel who seems just done with life, literally. At the beginning, we see him trying and failing multiple times to kill himself, which is weird.
So weird.
Yeah, like weird, but like at the same time, you can't help but look, maybe because you feel for him. And then, of course, this leads to all three of them meeting up. We've got Hui almost running over a panicked and freaking out Hyuna. Then, after she gets in his car and rides with him, they end up actually running over Edon, who intentionally steps in front of their speeding car. He somehow lives. I swear, a guy is like a gorilla made of steel.
He appeared like in the middle of the intersection after being hit. Yeah,
like he evidently flew after getting hit by the car. Gets back up. This angers Hui, who ends up beating the crap out of Edon at first. Hyuna, of course, tries to break it up. And then the next thing we know, all three of them are riding together. I mean, it's a weird start, and
It's so
then
crazy.
after that, we see various scenes of all three of them just partying. Hyuna and Edon in particular getting very friendly very fast. I mean, she just randomly kisses him while they're either eating or at a party.
Well, I mean, like, I wasn't sure if they were trying to, like, fast forward, you know, through their montage in terms of, like, them slowly evolving and working together as a group within the time span of a 2-minute song.
Yeah.
It did feel fast forwarded.
Like, they was trying to show, like, these, you know, three souls collided together through happenstance. And then they were each toxic to each other. Yeah. And enable their toxic behavior.
Long story short, yeah. Good way to.
When Peter says that it sounds so beautiful. And like,
you guys are too flattering.
Poetic.
But I mean, like, I think you're about to touch on this, Matt. Like, one of the taboos that we see in this is sexuality.
Yes. I mean, no bones about it. We see a scene of an implied threesome taking place, although some commenters have been saying that if you look closely, it's Edon and Hyuna who are like stark naked under a blanket, but
I was thinking that
still has his clothes on. So it's like, poor guy literally got friend zoned the hardest that any guy can get friend zoned.
Oh man. I mean, is it a love triangle or is it a?
I mean, I don't know.
Steph, we're referring to your female perspective.
Oh gosh, I mean, it's clear who her favorite is at least. But I don't know. I need to watch more closely. Was there any flirting going on with her and Hui?
That's the thing. I don't remember.
Like ever?
Well, I mean, again, I'm having a hard time telling the two guys apart. They have the same hair color.
Oh my gosh.
But there is that scene. Remember when you were referring to the kiss, right? And she kisses one of them, and then the other guy comes in and he like, he separates them
apart. Yes.
Yeah. That's right. Okay, so maybe this is an unrequited 짝사랑 where he wants to be involved, but he's been friend zoned from the very beginning. So sad because he would have been my choice. It's okay, I'll take you.
You know, the suicidal guy, in terms of how he draws like the Joker like faces everywhere, and that seems to be another really popular thing in K-pop right now. I don't know why guys are all pretending to be Joker lately.
Yes.
But like, he kind of reminds me of Hyo-sung from Troublemaker.
Yes. That's right.
Ah, dang. Mind blow, Peter. Mind blow.
I mean,
Maybe that's why she likes him. He reminds her of her past love.
And Troublemaker, she was really into really other abusive relationships.
That's right. Wow, what a connection.
Yeah, I mean, this whole like toxic relationship kind of reminds me of Highs and Deans' Angeli. Have you guys seen that one?
Yes.
So just to describe really quickly, it's like just a couple and they're trying to outdo each other. It's like, oh, I'm gonna eat cereal, and then he puts a ton of salt into her milk. Right?
Ooh.
So, you know, just doing stuff like that. Or it's like, oh, I need to use the bathroom, and then like there's a chain on the lid. So it's like, I can't open it. And so it's like they're destructive, they're bad for each other, and then they're destroying their home in the process through all this sort of stuff. I think that's exactly what we're seeing with this trio.
Yeah. It's also interesting though, because one thing that I also noticed, a lot of people who are reacting to this particular music video say that the storyline is kind of reminiscent of an old movie from Hollywood called Thelma and Louise, which is about two like women who end up getting in a bit of trouble, so they end up like kind of going through the same things here. It's like one of them actually does end up killing a guy in self-defense. They both go on the run. They're chased by the police. They commit escalating levels of crime before eventually they decide to end things on a tragic note. Driving their car off a cliff. And then I could see
Spoiler alert. Gosh.
Oh, God,
sorry.
man.
Well, I mean, for the sake of the music video comparison. Spoiler alert, sorry. But yeah, it's drawing that comparison also because of how this music video ends. So again, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen it by now. But at the end of the music video, after a highway chase, getting chased by police, all three members of Triple H hold hands, step up on the side of a bridge, and jump off.
Or a side of a building. It looked like a parking garage to me.
Oh, really?
Right.
Because all K-pop
it is a parking garage.
all K-pop music videos are filmed in parking garages.
This is true.
In this case, it was outside of a parking
Either
garage.
on top or inside the garage. Yep.
Yeah.
Prime locale.
Yeah.
Yes. Although what bothered me is that they jump off the parking garage facing forward, and then the fade out is with them leaning back.
Yeah. That kind of confused me.
I mean, and it was also obvious, and maybe they were trying to be deliberately 80s cheesy by not having that actual falling descent and more of them just kind of standing there, looking like they were kind of possibly falling off.
I mean, it is slow motion too, so you can't really tell. And we're distracted by the credits rolling over it.
Yeah, but they seemed happy for the experience and that they were at least able to reconnect for this brief moment in their lives, in their troubled, toxic lives.
Yeah. But I mean, on that note, I mean, Steph, I believe you had a particular part of the music video that you wanted to highlight.
Yeah, sure. I mean, just to go into the concept, the plot, and what happened there, the part where Hyuna killed the guy in self-defense, that really stuck out to me. I think that the Korean entertainment industry actually really likes to trot out this kind of storyline for some reason, and I'm trying to analyze and think about why, but I'm not coming up with reasons that are not super dark and twisted. So let's leave that for another episode. But for now, I'll just say that I remember some similar scenarios in older K-pop videos. I don't know if you guys remember, well, of course you do, Brown Eyed Girls' Abracadabra.
Yes.
The song of a generation.
Oh yeah. From the golden age of K-pop, in my opinion. But yeah, in that video, Milyo takes almost sadistic pleasure in like tying this guy to the bed. She ties a bomb to his chest. She's torturing him, slapping him around, and then
she could do that to me.
Oh, for sure. Oh, I thought it was so sexy. Just like the epitome of female power, sexiness, dominance. I was like, yes, get him. And then we see in the subplot of that video that the reason she's being so how do I say, sadistic with him is because he had taken advantage of Gain, who's another member of Brown Eyed Girls. So she's taking revenge. And then this other like classic K-pop video, Lies or Kojimal by Big Bang. The female lead in that video is also a victim of rape. And then when the man attacks her again, she beats him to death in her kitchen. And then G-Dragon turns himself into the police, acting like he's the one who killed the guy. But all of that to say, there's like countless scenarios in K-dramas and in K-pop where that exact scenario of the woman being raped and then killing the guy in self-defense is used. Yeah. And it's like really powerful in like all the examples that I've seen. But really what I'm getting at is that K-pop videos, even though they have generally a young target audience, they can often get into some pretty gritty, dark territory really quick. And when I was first getting into K-pop, I found that kind of jarring. You have these bubbly, happy melodies. Yeah, you know? But then it gets dark. I'm like, what's going on here?
It's definitely sexy and mature entertainment.
Exactly.
I see what you did there.
I mean, to get back to this song, 365. Yeah, sorry for the long trip down memory lane.
No, it was really good.
But to come back to the present day and 365, so fresh. I feel like they were portraying these serious topics like rape and suicide in a superficial way. Yes. They were just like attempting to seem edgy.
That was exactly my critique about this song.
Yeah, exactly.
Not to interrupt your train of thought, Steph, but like to completely agree with you that it felt very disingenuous to each of the vices that they were presenting, right? When we looked at BAP's Wake Me Up, like that one I thought was very genuine and really sincere in terms of how it was trying to present that this is an actual issue and one that needs to be addressed. In this one, it was so gratuitous, and it's like, well, you're not treating this issue of suicide and mental health with, I think, the reverence that it deserves, or the way that one would actually throw it in to actually build character. It just seems thrown in for the sake of just having another one of those vices in there.
Right. And let's not forget like murder as well.
Oh yeah, right. We've become so desensitized to violence. Yeah.
I was like, whatever. Like that's the least that's the least controversial of all of these things we listed. I mean, you see Hyuna kill someone, and then all of a sudden the camera's like basically zooming in up her shorts, down her shirt, like, you know, in case we forgot how sexy she is while she's wiping blood
I
off
almost
the floor,
forgot.
getting
You know,
it
I need those reminders throughout.
I just had to laugh at this. It's so surreal. It's crazy.
Yeah. I think maybe touching on this other point that you're getting to, Steph, is that it was such a mixed metaphor. It's like, okay, you've got something going down, like world's going to shit, these people living young, fast, and free, even, you know, too fast that they can really handle. At the same time, you've got a backing track, the song itself, which feels completely different. And I really happen to like the song, but I can't like these things together. It's like you guys ever like go to like a I don't know, sometimes I get this, like I'll go to like a Mexican restaurant, I'll be like really enjoying a burrito, and then I'll smell the scent of like cleaning fluid because they're cleaning. It's like I can't smell that while I'm eating, you know, it ruins the meal, the experience of the meal. And that's kind of what I'm getting with this. It's like these things don't go together.
I see.
Yeah. I don't know. What did you guys feel about that pairing between the concept and the song?
If I may, I totally see where you're coming from, Peter. For me, definitely, like I agree that for as upbeat and pardon the pun, funky fresh the song itself is of 365 So Fresh, the music video seems like it's more warranting of something different in terms of like the backing song or soundtrack. It's like for something like this, I wouldn't expect a almost Bruno Mars 24K magic kind of song, you know?
So on that point, like I went back in preparation. I was like, I watched all the Bruno Mars songs that were kind of in the same vein. And not like Press Your Number, another Bruno Mars song for another K-pop group, or Taemin?
Yes, for Taemin.
For Taemin, Press Your Number, produced by Bruno Mars. But I looked at, 24K, Uptown Funk, Treasure, all you can tell that like this song took artistic inspiration.
Inspiration.
You can't see it, Steph, but I was using air quotes around artistic inspiration.
Yes.
From each of those three songs, right? It's like they even had the what was it? There was one of the vocal ad libs.
Oh, like the melody from like Treasure where they go, whoa.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Like they even threw that in. I'm like, wow, you guys.
And they even have a part that's really similar to Uptown Funk You Up, Uptown Funk You Up.
Yeah. And these are Bruno Mars songs that I each love, right? I play them all the time in my top 40 gigs. And as a top 40 DJ, I will tell you, people love dancing to these songs. These are like safe songs. It's like, people are on the dance floor, I'm going to throw on a Bruno Mars song. Okay, people get back on the dance floor. But when I watch the music videos of these Bruno Mars songs, like the way Bruno Mars himself is like dancing and grooving, it's like you feel that in the song.
Yes.
Right? Because it thematically, it cohesively goes together. And I'm not getting that cohesion with Funky Fresh. So
yeah,
I can't like the song in that way. I mean, maybe if I just listen to the song by itself, I might like it, ignoring this music video. The other thing that sort of bothered me, and I feel like it was a real missed opportunity, I mean, who knows, maybe when like another EP or album will come out, we'll see like the the remix version, right? And in the teaser for Funky Fresh, for Triple H's Funky Fresh, you hear even at the beginning of the music video, you hear more of a disco house beat. So it's like boom, 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 boom. And that was my favorite part of the song. I'm serious. Like I used to DJ disco house back in the day, and like that, it's sort of like in the vein of like Daft Punk, not quite Daft Punk. Like it's on the edge of that category, and other disco house artists, but that they could have done more with, I think, or even did maybe had that breakdown in like in the bridge of this song. I would have liked that.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. What did you guys think of the song?
I medium liked the song. I could definitely hear the Bruno Mars influences, and enjoyed it because of that, but also am super judging it because it's ripped off from there. So this is a constant state of mind that K-pop fans have to deal with.
Yeah.
Right? But just overall, I'm right in the middle in terms of liking the song. I think that I would play it for the next couple weeks, but then probably lose some interest in it, because even though it does have that Bruno Mars appeal, it doesn't kill it. It doesn't hit it out of the park. It doesn't get there for me.
Yeah. It had a good artistic inspiration, honestly, but its execution wasn't wholly there. It didn't fully deliver on its execution, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, for me, I'm probably more in the same boat as you, Stephanie, where I'm pretty sure I will be enjoying this song, at least for maybe the next few weeks, because as of right now, I'm really loving it. Like, just as a song itself. Like, if we separate it from the video, this song is honestly right now really dope. Like, it's something that, funny enough, it's making me hit replay.
Yes.
Joke. But yeah, and I don't know. It's funny for me to think about one of the reasons why I like the song, and I realize it's because I'm such a big Bruno Mars fan too. I mean, 24 Karat Magic is one of my jams. I loved Uptown Funk. Like, pretty much almost anything Bruno, I'm a sucker for. So maybe because of how close this song is with it, that's why I'm enjoying it. And maybe I'm just looking at it with like rose tinted glasses, or in this case, I'm listening to it with like rose covered ears or something. I don't know what the equivalent is. Like, I think I'm liking it because of how close it is to the Bruno sound. Yeah. And also, I mean, to pair it with another aspect of the song, one thing that disappointed me, not to draw away from the audio, but like as far as concept wise, I mean, I understand that with the video they were trying to go for a more like film / cinematic experience with the story they told. But I would have liked to see some of the choreography, because I checked out live performances of this song.
That's a good point.
The choreo is dope. Like, it's super fun just to watch, and I can imagine doing it. Like, the chemistry that Hyuna has with both Hee and E'Dawn is amazing. Like, honestly, it's kind of, in my opinion at least, to me, it's kind of almost comparable to the KARD levels, because all three of them get their moments to shine, and they have those playful interactions. Like, it's funny when they're doing the live performances, Hyuna has chemistry with both equally.
What?
And I haven't.
This changes everything.
Totally, right? I haven't seen the dance choreo yet, but I'm smirking for reasons why I probably shouldn't. But that totally changes everything, because like, I think they just didn't have time, right, in the music, because they're trying to push this story. They needed every screen time they could get to throw that in. But yeah, I can see myself not only enjoying seeing Hyuna and her two backup boy dancers doing this, right? But also seeing like all the K-pop cover groups, and that's going to be fun for a different set of reasons. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and it's again, like, I definitely do like recommend checking it out, because the one thing I really respect Triple H for, as well as like whoever it is at their team is behind the dance and the choreography, is that they sprinkled in some of the same playful elements / like couple dynamic from Troublemaker, but at the same time they found a way to differentiate it enough, because again, like I said, they gave Hyuna pretty much throughout the whole piece equal chemistry with both guys. And at the same time too, like, both guys get their moments to shine, where they each get their own individual like highlights and solos, and then of course Hyuna comes back, she gets her solo. Then there's a lot of moments where all three move in unison. They're just having a lot of fun together, and like, they're doing this choreography which is very reminiscent of Bruno as well, in terms of like the funk style, the way they move, just like arms swinging, legs being loose.
You guys
and free.
can't see it, but Supermatic here was doing just those things.
Yes. Like, definitely, I do recommend checking that out if you were interested.
Yeah.
But yeah, bringing all that back, like, that's probably another one of the reasons why I'm really enjoying the song, because as a dancer myself, it's one of those songs where even before the vocals kick in, the moment I hear the beat, I'm like already bobbing my head. I'm probably gonna get up and dance regardless of where I am. If I'm in the car, I'll be doing carography.
I was like, wait a minute.
I would do it if it had a bit more of a ratchet electric beat, and more of that boom, 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 and then maybe with like claps, like acoustic claps. I would have liked it.
Love your twerking claps.
Yeah, pretty much.
Can't get enough.
All right, so going into the audio, we rate this in terms of a 1 to 5 scale, 5 being the highest, 1 being lowest. Who wants to go first?
I can go first.
Yeah,
Okay, go for it,
Stephanie,
Steph.
by all means.
Yeah, sure. So, as I described earlier, I do enjoy the audio mainly because it's in that Bruno Mars vein that I am really into right now. But like I said before, it doesn't quite get there. So I'm going to leave this at a 3.3. So right in the middle. But then I was thinking of all the other K-pop videos I watched leading up to this, and I'm like, yeah, okay, it's still better than most.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So I can't be too mean.
Yeah. I felt the same way, Stephanie, although I guess I'll go next. So I gave it a slightly higher score. So I gave it a 3.75 because just as you were saying stuff like, okay, how would I compare this against other songs? This is actually better than most songs. So I like it. And it's not something we usually get in K-pop, quite frankly. All right. How about you, Supermatic?
Yeah, I'm mostly in the same vein. I mean, as I said, I'm a big fan of the Bruno Mars style of music, and this obviously draws a lot of inspiration from it. And as I said earlier, it's definitely what the kids these days are calling a bop or a slap. I don't know, like one of those words where it's just...
I would call it definitely both those things, a bop.
Yes.
Slap bop.
Yeah, maybe it's just the inner dancer in me too. Like I said, I hear this song, I am moving and grooving. So audio wise, I mean, again, comparing it to most K-pop songs, like you said, yeah, it's better than a lot of what we would get, or at least what we would expect. But at the same time, like comparing it to the source material that it draws inspiration from, I couldn't put it as high as I would like, especially for the potential. Like, I want to love this song more because it is Triple H. It's Hyuna and Hui and Edon. But with that said, I actually ended up being right in the middle of you both. I gave the song a 3.5.
Okay. And so in other words, we're all kind of feeling the same way about this.
Yeah, right. I think Matt brings up an important point that this group is so hyped up that we were all expecting so much more. So much more.
Right.
And so we can't help but be disappointed and bias our ratings because like they're not a new debut. Oh my gosh, if this was the first time we're seeing these artists, we'd be like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah, especially that one female.
Or maybe not quite that, but we would be way more impressed. But these, at least Hyuna, she's been around a while and we know a lot of money and thought went into this. So we're, disappointed.
I agree completely, Steph. The concept, how would you guys rate it?
Again, with the whole cinematic experience that they tried to give us with the music video, I thought it was interesting. Like, there was potential there, but I mean, as you both alluded to as well, it seems pretty rushed and fast forwarded for what could have been at least explicated more if they had more of a time slot, or if they didn't feel the need to abridge it so much.
Right.
I mean, it's an interesting concept as well, but at the same time, the mood of the song with the video doesn't really match. I probably would have liked it more if it had a better suited matching song / soundtrack, because like every good movie has a good soundtrack. So with that said, and again, because of the hype being there and the expectation, I felt underwhelmed, to be honest, by this video more than anything.
Yeah.
That being said, I think I'm maybe cutting them a little bit of slack just because like I am hoping for them to do better from here because it's a new group. And again, I loved Troublemaker as well. I mean, I loved that duo of Hyuna and Hyunsung. And if this is going to be the spiritual successor to that, then of course I want them to knock it out of the park. Also because of the fact that I'm a sucker for co-ed groups these days, especially after KARD. So I would love to see more co-ed groups rise up and be as successful. So with that leeway I'm giving them, I was kind of nice and I gave them a 3.25 on the concept.
So much leeway. You've heard what I have to say on the concept. I won't rehash that too much more. I'll say that I compare it in my mind to some other videos that I think at least attempted to pay respect to like serious issues.
Yeah.
Big Bang's Loser, Monster, To Anyone's Ugly. Like you watch those and you feel like, wow, someone who actually went through these things or knows someone who did wrote that into the direction or how the video was made. And I just felt like these serious issues were so disrespected and treated superficially that it bothered me a lot. So, I have to really tank it for that reason. I'm going to go with 2.7.
Ah, dang. Well, I think I kind of like the concept. I don't always expect highbrow stuff out of K-pop. Again, the whole thing for the concept itself was kind of incongruous and left me scratching my head a lot of times. But there was this one girl in the music video that caught my attention throughout. I didn't think they were really outshone the other two guys. So, that was Hyuna. So I like it for that reason. I think, it's just another fun side of seeing this idol. The fun thing about K-pop is that you always get to see your idols reimagined in different ways. And this was sort of in the same vein of Troublemaker, trying to, be really risque and really push the ballot in terms of doing something dark. So I like it. It's a 3.5 for me for the concept. On the whole, is Triple H 365's So Fresh Daebak
or not?
For me, I'm gonna say it's Daebak. I mean, it's a really good burrito in spite of the clean fluid that I'm smelling, while I'm enjoying my burrito. So
I'm loving these analogies, Peter.
This is like an analogy that makes sense to nobody else but me. It's like no one else has been in.
Oh no, we've all been there.
Because I wasn't sure. Am I the only one who feels this way? I want to go to some of my favorite tuckerias or whatever. So.
Nope.
Okay. Obviously there's room for improvement and it could have been better executed, and we have a number of critiques to this which can definitely be improved on by this trio or by this solo artist and her two backup dancers.
Oh my god, Peter, taking shots.
You mean Pentagon featuring
Stephanie with the shot right back.
Okay.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Daebak for me. How about you, Steph? How would you rate it?
I'm gonna go with not. I think is that like the first not
we've
on
had
this
knots.
Show?
We've had knots,
maybe
but
I didn't
on the whole, we tend to give more Daebaks than knots.
It's been a while. All right, I'm bringing back the knot. And y'all know why.
Okay, Supermatic.
All right, so for me, I'm actually I'm gonna be pulling a bit of a cop out with this one, and it's not the first time. So here's what I'm going to say: as a song, it's Daebak.
No. I'm not gonna let you do that this time.
Ah, dang it.
No. You gotta take it together. Okay.
All right. Together. If I really have to
gonna
judge
say
it together,
concept not. Okay.
Just
shout
it out.
I guess altogether, it's probably gonna still barely be Daebak. Barely Daebak.
Okay. There you go. You heard it, folks. Okay, so 2 Daebaks, 1 not for this episode of Triple H 365 So Fresh. Maybe a couple of concluding questions. What do you guys think of this? Think this means for co-ed groups moving forward in K-pop? Obviously, everyone's talking about KARD, and as we talked about KARD, I always brought up Troublemaker. Is this a good alternate take for a co-ed group for K-pop?
Well, I mean, for me, especially with how much I'm really loving what KARD's doing right now, I feel like there's a potential there, definitely. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how the dynamic plays out, because what differentiates KARD from other groups so far, or past K-pop co-ed groups, and even for this new group with Triple H, is that KARD really emphasizes how the four of them are equal, and that they're all one unit. They're a family. Even that's what they said on their AMA on Reddit. Whereas with Triple H, obviously, I mean, they've got the star power of Hyuna, whereas Hui and Edon are still relatively new, even though, I mean, Pentagon does seem to have a pretty steady growing fan base, I will acknowledge. And I see the potential there. I mean, the two of them definitely carry their weight with Hyuna. But again, that dynamic will be interesting, because on one hand, again, the more recognizable name and face at this stage is Hyuna. And two, the fact that there's one lady but two gentlemen.
Yeah, I think Hyuna's going to have to bring it.
What?
And that and no, but I look forward to these two groups going forward. We're already comparing them. They were being compared before they even came out. And I think they're going to challenge each other to be better and to carve out their own niches in the scene. And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I will say the inverse of that. I think, these other two guys need to step up their game. Make sure that they catch up with Queen Hana, or else they will just become backup dancers.
Learn the names, Peter. Hui and Edon.
I'll get around to it. So, but I think the trio sort of answers maybe an honest question that we always kind of ask ourselves about a co-ed group. Are they just going to end up all sleeping with each other?
Oh.
And I think,
Come on, fans are asking that about all male groups already.
All these different ships
Has
that
anything
sail.
really changed?
Oh my gosh.
Come on.
Oh,
Come on.
I'm so glad we opened that can of worms.
Had to. Dang, I thought I could make it through the episode without.
These are questions as a straight male I always ask myself when looking at a guy group, but yeah, glad we're fronting that discussion now. But I don't know. I think this is a good different flavor from KARD. Is it Troublemaker 3.0? I don't think so. Can it replace Troublemaker? I don't think it's a replacement. I think Triple H and Troublemaker could coexist because this definitely feels like a different flavor from Troublemaker.
I'm inclined to agree with you on the point that I don't think they're necessarily going to ever replace Troublemaker, because when Troublemaker was still out and prominent, like, it was definitely something different. Like, they established their own unique brand and identity out there. And as you said, Triple H is something different, something fresh, to pardon the pun. Yeah, even though they're, in a sense, they're supposed to be the successor to what Troublemaker was, I feel at the same time this is pretty much a new chapter and a new group, even though both groups included Hyuna. But again, I believe in the same thing that you do, Peter, that Troublemaker and Triple H can coexist in the same
hypothetically
fashion.
speaking,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're definitely different in that Troublemaker has more of this, what was it? It was the 007, Mr. and Mrs. Smith vibe, and then this one is more like raw, young, wild, free, less put together, or less, it's hard to put my finger on it, but definitely they portray different personas. So yeah, very different to me.
Does Triple H present a viable model for a co-ed group?
I think definitely. I think the natural tension and competition that comes up when you got a queen and her two boy toys. Yeah, I agree. That's what they're going for here. I can see it. I think it's fun to watch. You want to know who is she going to pick, and there you go. There's your concept for now and forever.
Yeah,
totally viable.
I'm inclined to agree. Yeah, definitely. Again, it's something different so far. I mean, usually trios that have one member of one sex and then the other two members being the opposite sex have that kind of what's the word, like risky, like potentially explosive, like kind of like a volatile dynamic where at any moment that like the girl could cause the rift between the two guys or whatever. But like at the same time, if that's what they're going for here with Triple H, especially with someone like Hyuna, who, let's face it, she would probably do that for about any two guys. It's definitely something that I see as being viable. I mean, it's a nice alternative, or like something different, if not everyone's cup of tea is what a group like KARD is doing. Yeah. And again, I don't mean to keep on bringing up KARD or like harping on them, but right now, I mean, right now they're as you said, they're the best comparison right now because they're out there, and KARD themselves, they're kind of setting their own standard for what a co-ed group is and can be. But then now we've got a new player in that game, and early on too. So props to Cube and to Triple H for striking while the iron is hot, to use a saying, that they're joining this new game and shift of co-ed groups becoming the new thing in K-pop.
Over on the Reddit AMA thread, did anyone mention Triple H to KARD and ask them what they thought?
I don't remember, because as expected, that AMA, they got so many questions, and I don't know how far down it I scrolled, but I don't remember seeing anything about Triple H.
Okay.
Okay.
That would be interesting to hear KARD's
thoughts on that.
Well, as Lu Yi or the commenter, and Form of Therapy point out, like, KARD is a different paradigm, right? It's about playing together as a cohesive group where the roles are a little androgynous, right? Triple H has, as you mentioned, Matt, a volatile dynamic. It's for the people who like to watch reality TV.
Yes.
Right? Whereas KARD is like, we are one family. So I think you can like both these things. You
Definitely.
can like the happy family that you know is healthy for their relationship. And then you can watch at the same time your trashy television where a bunch of girls, you know, compete for a rose and or a bunch of guys compete for one rose. And that's Triple H.
Oh, who is the rose? Yeah.
Will you accept this rose?
Funny because one of Hyuna's nicknames is the Lady in Red or the Queen of Red. She had a song called Red.
Yeah.
Open Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style.
So that's it for this episode of the Kpopcast. What are we going to cover next week, Supermatic?
Next week seems to be potentially interesting. We've got the solo debut from none other than Sojung of Ladies Code. We've also potentially got a comeback from none other than the man himself, the motherfather gentleman, Psy. So we'll keep an eye out for that.
Like, where are you going with this?
I like Psy.
Yes.
I like Psy. For as much hate that genuine K-popers have for him, I love him.
I mean, you can't deny the legacy he put on K-pop, especially with Gangnam Style. So
yeah, we'll see. I mean, that's a packed week if all those things come out at the same time.
So definitely stay tuned, everybody.
Okay, and where can people find us? I'm at DJ Peter Lowe.
I'm on Twitter at Supermatic. Spelling that out for you is SOUPERMATIC. And how about you, Stephanie?
I'm on Twitter at sparker2. I guess I need to come up with a cool DJ name now.
No. S Parker 2 is a DJ name. So
Sure. Okay.
you're like, maybe in your world, Peter. But
And then lastly, of course, the K-Popcast ourselves. We do have a official Twitter account. You can find us at the K-Popcast, which is THEKPOPCAST.
And Steph, will you join us for the next episode?
You got it. I'll be there.
Yeah,
sweet.
she's coming back.
Awesome.
We didn't scare her away. Okay, cool.
We're still on the air yet, right?
Yeah.
I was like, hell no, I hate you.
But if I will say,
I had so much fun.
If I will say, just thank you so much for joining us, Stephanie. You've been such a great guest. I love the different dynamic that you brought to us.
I agree with everything that you say, even when you disagree.
That's when you know. No, my pleasure, you guys. Thanks for having me.
Okay, catch y'all next time.
Yep. Signing out. Whoop, whoop.
See ya.
What the fuck?
Gangnam Style.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
Gangnam Style. Wow. Open Gangnam Style.
Triple H's 365.
Daebak or not.
No, you didn't say so
Sorry.
fresh, so I didn't even.
I keep screwing up.
Hey.
Okay, is Triple H's 365 so fresh?
Daebak or not.
Daebak or not. We should play that blooper in the show.
Yeah, at the end. Okay.